that I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. A 99-year-old woman in Canada broke 3 world swimming records for her age class in the same day, until finally someone noticed she had fallen in.
The Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show has selected a miniature poodle named Sage as the winner of the title Best in Show, while the loser is once again every human participating in this event.
New York City police are trying to determine the owner of a human leg found abandoned on a Bronx subway track. The top theory so far being the guy yelling, "Ah!"
It's been rumored that Disney World has plans to install a maternity ward inside the Magic Kingdom so guests can give birth at the park. The only catch is Goofy gets to watch. One of the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement announced that he is supporting Donald Trump for president. And I'm going to assume he announced it during a traffic stop.
A new census report shows that by the end of the year 2060, 1 out of every 4 Americans will be Latino. That's how good Bad Bunny's music is.
On Monday, Donald Trump testified under oath in his civil fraud trial, though technically he was never sworn in because the Bibles kept bursting into flames. Next week, Lifetime will air their first Christmas movie featuring a sex scene. The sex scene will finally explain why Santa named that one reindeer Vixen. Weird name for a reindeer, man.
Donald Trump urged his supporters to brave the sub-zero temperatures in Iowa to vote for him, saying, even if you vote and then pass away, it's worth it. Voting for Trump and then passing away is also what happened with COVID. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried has been convicted of securities fraud, wire fraud, and illegally making a wig out of a Labradoodle. The former cryptocurrency CEO now faces up to 110 years in prison where, ironically, he will be used as an alternative currency.
Colin.
After Trump was photographed with some strange red marks on his hand, some dermatologists speculated it could be something called hand herpes. What the hell is hand herpes? Said Tim Scott.
I like this a lot.
And plans for a 3-year-long around-the-world cruise were canceled after organizers could not find a ship for the voyage. Guys, call me.
After Ron DeSantis endorsed Donald Trump, he called DeSantis a really terrific person and promised to stop calling him Ron DeSanctimonious. Well, it's like a wise man once said.
You can be the most worthless Republican in America, but if you kiss the ring, he'll say you're wonderful.
Well...
Campaign finance records show that in the last 6 months, the super PACs behind Donald Trump spent $50 million on Trump's legal fees. And that's with the cheapest, worst lawyers on the planet. Can you imagine spending $50 million on the people who just lost you $83 million? I mean, this lawyer did such a bad job in court, I thought her actual name was Overruled Shutdown. During an interview, Elon Musk, who looked like the ghost of a guy who died in a 1950s drag race, was asked if he was anti-Semitic and said that he was in fact philo-Semitic. You know, another answer would be no.
After the New Hampshire primary, Nikki Haley attacked Donald Trump and called out his, quote, senior moments, which made Trump so angry he almost ripped off the safety rails on his toilet. A new study of pregnant women finds that vaping does not harm their babies as long as they're very careful shoving the vape up there.
My God.
That's the study that
That's a study. That's a real study. Gladstone's nomination comes after several Native American actors were snubbed in the past, including Johnny Depp in Lone Ranger.
The Japanese movie Godzilla -1 received a surprise Oscar nomination for visual effects. Also receiving nominations, the Godzilla prequel, Oppenheimer. Plans to come to New York on Tuesday to protest Trump's indictment because apparently it takes her 3 days to put on her Joker makeup. No, they'll probably laugh at this next one.
That's the meanest thing you've ever done. I'm covered in sweat. A Disneyland guest was arrested for stripping off his clothes and walking around nude on It's a Small World, which is the all-time worst answer to the question, so what are you in for? Don't you even dare try now. Florida Governor
A new survey shows that 92% of adults prefer to date someone who's been to therapy, while 8% prefer good sex.
In a new interview, Barbra Streisand said that she didn't like the way Siri pronounced her name, so she called Apple CEO Tim Cook and told him to change it. Read more about it in this month's issue of Insanely Unrelatable Anecdotes. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who thinks he's Gaston, but girl, you LeFou. Ron DeSantis, I'm shaking. Ron DeSantis said Florida officials would not help extradite Trump back to New York unless, of course, he agrees to take a busload of migrants with him.
New York City has enacted a new law requiring public schools to offer free swimming lessons to second graders, which will come in handy the next time it rains here. Thousands of black women have sued L'Oreal and Revlon, claiming that their chemical hair straighteners made them infertile. L'Oreal and Revlon have countersued, claiming that maybe it's Maybelline.
Michigan State apologized after an image of Adolf Hitler appeared on a stadium video board at a football game. Even more upsetting, it was during the kiss cam. Southwest Airlines has introduced a new feature on its app that lets passengers track their bags. Southwest, why don't you tell us where your bag is? After a judge issued a gag order against President Trump, Trump told reporters that the judge said, basically, I don't have the right to speak. Then he added, she's like literally killing me. Then he yelled, you're not even my real mom, and slammed his bedroom door. This week, Donald Trump Jr. testified in his father's civil fraud trial. And based on this courtroom sketch, I feel like it didn't go great. He's supposed to be talking about real estate, but he looks like he's on Law and Order saying, that girl came on to me. And unlike the other packed courtroom days, only 4 people showed up, and Donald Trump Sr. was not present, which is just like all of Don Jr.'s childhood birthday parties. It happened. And yesterday on Truth Social, Trump posted a courtroom sketch of him sitting next to Jesus. Because if there's one guy whose trial famously ended well, it's Jesus.
A new report shows that the gender death gap is rising, with men dying an average of 6 years before women, which is, it's actually scientific proof that men are actually dying a little every time we have to listen to your boring ass stories. House Speaker Mike Johnson said that he is blurring the faces on the footage of January 6 rioters so that none of them would be charged with a crime. So unfortunately, we'll never know who they are.
Michael. A British woman who was arrested for keying several parked cars blamed her actions on, quote, feeling menopausal. Incidentally, feeling menopausal was also the working title of And Just Like That.
A new poll finds that New York Mayor Eric Adams' approval rating is just 28%. Now that sounds low. Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy admitted in a new interview that he flew 2 times on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, but only to make sure none of those girls were vaccinated. It's going to be one of these kind of nights. In her new book, Liz Cheney claims that one Republican called Donald Trump Orange Jesus. But it's like you always say, Colin, there's only one Jesus, and he's white. You know how you always say that?
Yeah, I always say that.
In Monday's Iowa caucuses, Ron DeSantis beat out Nikki Haley for second place. Well, that ought to put whatever this is on his face. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who looks like someone drew Ving Rhames with their eyes closed, endorsed Donald Trump. But remember, most Trump supporters only count him as 3/5 of an endorsement. Oh, boy.
On his website, truthsocial. I'm going to guess scam, Donald Trump denied reports that he was so depressed after the 2020 election that he stopped eating, saying, quote, "It was not that I was not eating, it was that I was eating too much." Wow, good save. That's like when a rumor went around middle school that I had peed my pants, and I was like, joke's on you, because I actually pooped them.